was wondering, since Shaul was the top dog, he was a Pharisee among Pharisees. He was, he crossed his T's, he dot his I's. I was wondering if possibly the flesh that he struggled with was fighting the tradition that he had been convinced of was Torah. I don't know if that's a weird question or not, but I was wondering.
No, look, we don't know because he never tells us.
Right.
But let me just kind of do it this way. Let's say you're on a scale of, I don't know, let's say 1 to 100, right? So you see yourself as, let's say you're starting off at like a 20 or something, right? You're down towards the bottom of the scale. And you look at yourself and you think, oh my gosh, I'm awful. I'm down, I'm not even close to 100. But you know what? When you get to 80, you'll think the same thing, except that you'll be doing different things that you still struggle with, not the things you were still struggling with when you were at 20 or 30 or 40, right? But you could still look at yourself like, oh, what I want to do, I don't do. And you may be looking at 20 at the person struggling at 80 going, what are you talking about? But to that person, they're recognizing the things they struggle with are still struggles. They're just not the things they struggle with when they're lower down on the scale. Some of the things are much more obvious when you come out of very obvious worldly, behavior patterns. You may have been somebody doing really, things that even society would think were not the brightest and brilliant things to be doing. But those are the obvious fixes, right?
Right.
But then there's the internal stuff. And Paul's like, yeah, I'm a Pharisee of Pharisees. All that meant was I know the law better than, he could recite the entire Tanakh by heart, because that would have been required as a student of Gamaliel. Right. But the thing is, that didn't mean I was great at doing it all, just because I can quote everything. But I don't think he struggled with the things that, say, a regular, worldly, delusional-minded, dead in trespasses Gentile would have when they first come in.
Right.
Okay? He didn't struggle to make sure he ate right.
Right. He was good
a brand new person is going to struggle.
Right.
I got to read labels now, right?
Okay.
I got to recognize when sundown is and Saturday. There's things that you struggle with in the beginning because it's all new. So Paul didn't struggle with any of those kind of things.
Right.
But whatever he did struggle with was just as upsetting to him as the stuff that at level 20 or 25 would be struggles for you. It felt the same to him, even though he might be up higher as what you might struggle with if you were down lower. So we don't know what it is because he never tells us.
Okay.
But he's simply saying, things I know I should do, I don't do them. And it makes me angry. And things I know I shouldn't do, I do them anyway. Okay, whatever that is, somebody who knew what it was, which is why you don't need to share these things with everybody, because they'll look at you sometimes like, really? You struggle with that? That's so small. No, it's small if you had the bigger things still going on, but maybe you handle those, what people might think are bigger, and these things are now your bigger things because it's what you got left, but you're still struggling.
Well, I was thinking about what Yeshua talked to the leaders about when he was around, and how they were complaining about they're eating grain without washing their hands. Their
Right.
traditions that became Torah, which
Right.
he had a problem with, and I was wondering if he had part of him, kind of like us coming out of Christianity. We have sides of us that we're still trying to let go of certain doctrines that are very much entwined. And I wondered how much that was entwined within Shaul and could possibly be a frustration for him.
It could be.
Because every time I put on my shoes or every time I'm trying to eat grain, I want to do this. And I know it's not required. So that was...
I don't know. I mean, It just doesn't say.
Okay.
He seems to tell people to imitate and keep the traditions he taught them, whatever they were.
Right.
So I don't know that he struggled. We just don't know.
Okay.
Okay, I think it's more of a, like I said, psycho-emotional shortcoming that he just struggled with, because it doesn't really say any other way.
Okay.
So there's no way. Right. There's just really no way to know it. And so I just want us to keep that in perspective. But years ago, I used to shave right after Passover, and then I'd grow the beard back right after Sukkot. My wife didn't like the beard. Okay, at the time, she likes it now. I happen to like to kiss my wife because she found the beard too scratchy or whatever. So half a year at least, she was more happy to kiss me. Okay, but the thing is, I would get people coming up to me going, Where's your beard? You have to have a beard. Well, no, there is no verse that says that. There are verses in Leviticus that tells you what to not do if you have a beard to your beard.
Right.
But I always noticed that the person who was giving me grief almost always didn't have any seat on. I'm like, I'm sorry, my ears are a little clogged. I can't really hear you over the deafening sound of you not having seat on. Like, why are you worried about my beard? So everybody's issues can really be different, okay? Now, I wear the beard now because I prefer not to shave anyway. My wife's gotten used to it. And actually, the last time I shaved it off, some of you might remember this, my son and I both got buzz cuts, and I shaved the beard off, and I freaked a bunch of people out. And they were like, Rabbi, don't ever do that again. So I'm like, fine. I'd rather have it anyway, okay? But understand that what you struggle with, don't ever compare that to anybody else's struggle, and don't compare their struggle to yours. Mm-hmm. Your struggle is your struggle, and your struggle may really get your goat, so to speak. I mean, it really might get you frustrated, even though to somebody else, they'd be like, seriously?
Right.
This is upsetting you? Mm-hmm. Well, it's you, not them.
Right.
Okay? So don't let anybody else's perspective on how big or small your struggle is or should be. Okay, now if you counsel, I might say, look, you need to figure out, and you got some bigger things maybe to redirect on and balance it, but that's a counseling thing, not just somebody saying, well, I can't believe you're that upset about that.
Right.
So I think if we knew what Paul, I think maybe that's why. I think if we knew what he was all upset about, we'd all be like, seriously?
I think that's
And that's why he doesn't say it. But he's like, I hate this stuff. It's like, whoa. I mean, he was in that point where he wanted so badly to be right and perfect in his eyes that anything that he was falling short and struggling with would make him feel that way.
Right.
Whatever it was.
Right.
Okay, and you might be like, man, I got a long way to go before I need to worry about that thing being such a big deal. I got bigger things to worry about. Good. That's your plank. That's the twig. That's whatever. Work on your stuff, right?